Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. This is Anna from Rock Dance Theater checking in with you. What a beautiful Sunday day, right? If anyone is celebrating Easter, happy Easter to you all. And this is another exciting episode of, well, Women in the Arts today, because my guest is the very first woman on this broadcast. I'm still deciding on the name format, guys. I think I'm going to do like a poll. Should it be live stream meetings with Rock Dance Theater? Oh, sorry, glitch. I gotta shut down my actual same voice. You cannot do twice. Like, that's just being greedy. There we go. Sorry about that. Technical difficulties. You know what? I was laughing actually with my guest in the green room just before that. I'm never gonna live stream again. I've just done a marathon live stream all night long. It was on American time, Central Pacific, and it's been 9.5 hours. So I was laughing waking up this morning. God, like, do we continue with these really? But I figured, no, it's too exciting to not to do. It's too exciting not to miss. And pretty much my guest is involved with way back before Rock Dance Theater was even there. We did a project together. We're going to talk about it. But without further ado, I do want to introduce my fabulous guest today, extraordinaire, Vladimira Krckova, checking in, I think from Czech Republic today. You know what? Let's ask her live, shall we? Hey!
Hey!
Say
Yes.
Hello, everyone. Vladimira
Krckova. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone from Prague, Czech Republic. Or how we are now called in English, Czechia.
Czechia. That works as well.
Well,
that's creative.
I think that for Czech people, it doesn't really. I don't know why there is the change, but whatever. Czech Republic, Prague. Sunny as well. Very sunny. As you can see my face, I couldn't do anything about it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not going to apologize because literally, guys, this is my home studio. This is my home office where I'm hunkered down since a month right now when we're going into week 5 of this quarantine thing. And you know what? I'm actually multitasking as we speak because I'm so bright as Vladimira. It's not because we're all of a sudden holy people, because we're not. Maybe one day. But I'm literally suntanning as we speak, and I'm not going to feel sorry about it. You know, you just got to keep busy.
Enjoy.
So yeah, Vladimira, a small intro to how we actually met up. It's a pretty funny story. I think, has it been 10 years already? The Outsider project.
It was much longer, honestly, because I was actually thinking about it yesterday, and it's almost 16 years.
No way.
Yes.
My count is way off then.
Oh, yeah. It was in 2004 in September.
See?
And so
she's got all the details. She did the homework.
I did the homework. I kind of remember a lot.
You know what? My memory is shady just because of the lifestyle that I kind of have. There's like each day a million things. But yeah, I do remember specifically us meeting up. By the way, let's play with the view. Should we go vertical? Yeah, we're gonna open it later on for our viewers. Hello, everyone. By the way, checking in. Oh, I see Argus is checking in. Our previous guest actually on the Rock Dance Theater stream. So that's very cool. We had dark art the last time and a post-apocalyptic version. Today we have a little bit of light, you know, like a weekend kind of episode. So yeah, 16 years, man. What happened since then? Oh my God, it's been a while. Where should we start?
Yeah, well, you know, honestly, it's just kind of like it's so much in the past that it was another life already.
It feels like the same to me, to be honest, because like here's the thing, what I remember, I think my hair was literally shaved off. I was almost like a G.I. Jane bald kind of visual back then. I think it was directly past the dreadlocks. Number one. Number two, Rock Dance Theater wasn't existing. No. Like I didn't even realize at all ever what happened with Rock Dance Theater and with me finding rock and starting to play live instrument and having this crazy fusion of things. Maybe it was somewhere in the back of my head. I remember you pretty much being into music back then, these 16 years.
Absolutely.
You were a vocalist already, haven't you been?
So at the time, I just finished a conservatory. I was studying musical and dramatic arts. So I was a fresh professional in arts.
A rookie, as we call it.
Yeah. But
Straight
I
off the
was,
bat.
I was studying music since I was 6. So that's that's been with me the whole time. But I was studying also acting, and yeah. So basically, that's what I've been doing then afterwards. Uh, and yeah, I've been in jazz, I've been in theater, I've been in some film. What else? I was, and actually, all the I also have all the I would say another half of myself, which is very. I don't like using the term spiritual, but very spiritual. So it was in the beginning, or in the beginning was a very long time, a long battle, because the spiritual side of me didn't want me to really do art. So it was very difficult to commit the whole time.
I'm not surprised, because
Yeah,
if I can interrupt, that's exactly like an opposition, because
absolutely.
arts
It felt like that.
are about a little bit of exhibitionism and
Mm-hmm.
about being egocentric.
Yes.
And what you might speak about is way more about, finding yourself and being more in than,
Yeah.
Out.
So this is exactly it, and I was always thinking how, because of course there are many types of artists, but it's I think it's a misunderstanding that artists are spiritual, or only spiritual. Of course we are connected, but sometimes subconsciously we will never discover the connection. We will just create the art that will subsequently hopefully enrich people, but you don't have to be spiritual at all. You don't have to believe in anything as an artist. But for me it was very different, because I felt everything, I saw many things, I perceived many things, and it was mixing with the lifestyle of an artist extremely, because I don't like acting from my ego. And you have to, as an artist, be like that, because otherwise you just basically don't work.
You know what? Not really. It's beatable. Well, in the community, because as you said, you've been in the business, so to speak, of arts ever since you were 6. Is that correct?
I was not.
Quite
No,
early on.
it was not in the business, but I was studying since I
You
was
started.
6, and then since I was 17, I think I got my first engagement in a theater. So then, but it's been 20 years basically. I'm a professional.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's what actually we have in common. I've been also having my 20th anniversary basically in the
Wow.
arts. I started also as a kid. Rock Dance Theater is actually having a 3-year anniversary this year. There are a couple of dates, and I think this is about like even our meeting here, for all of you guys. By the way, everyone that is checking in just literally now, Vladimira Krckova is with us on today's Rock Dance Theater live stream. So there are a lot of anniversaries and a lot of cool dates that we can come back to also. And for me, the Outsider Project has been also like a flashback. It's one of these things that really stayed in my mind, and also our meeting stayed in my mind, not only because we had so much fun, not only because of the complexity of things, but yeah, this ego thing, like, look, my opinion is that basically what I have learned throughout the years is being humble. It's like ego completely kills talent. It kills human relations, and basically you end up in a place where you don't want it to be, and you don't even realize before it happens. So yeah, I think ego is not a good thing to be driven from, to be honest. Not at all.
Yeah, I absolutely understand. I completely understand. Only what I've encountered in my life.
Oh, there's a lot of ego out there, right? Like,
wow.
We know people like that. Wow.
Exactly. And the thing is that
like
usually the most egocentric people claim to be not non-egocentric, and they actually claim to be the most humble, and they also have the face of a humble person. And then when you want to collaborate, or when you want to really connect, there's no connection. You just basically cannot establish it. And so but of course it's also a test of our own personality and of our own setup. Always. Because we all have an ego, we all have everything. So
speaking of ego, there you go. Let's throw in a banner or two at where we at, because we wouldn't be here if you guys wouldn't be watching, you wouldn't be subscribing. So if you want to check that out, this is exactly where we are. And after the commercial break, continue.
Okay. Do you want me to sing some jingle for the commercial?
Oh man, if you want to sing, hell, I'll go for it, guys.
Yeah,
like,
well,
this is all we get these days, performing wise, like streaming out of our computers.
Yeah, honestly, I did a few little videos for my Instagram singing here from my coronavirus lockdown station. Yeah. No, well, so yeah, but it's so of course, I don't think at all that you have to. When I said, you have to be egocentric to actually be an artist, but what I meant by that is just basically if you don't speak for yourself and you don't promote yourself, unless you have somebody who will do that for you, you will basically never be seen. Because if you don't do the step outside, or at least send your art somewhere, and again, you have to have that interaction with people.
That's a huge difference. It's between ego and exposure. And being self-sufficient, in the arts, especially if you're a professional that is a freelance, such as myself, such as you, for example.
Me too,
yes. It comes down to pretty much just being out there and connecting with people that you want to follow, throwing your work out there, reaching people with what you want to express with into the world. Like for you, let's say film and music, expression like that is the way to communicate with the world as well. For me, it's physical theater, it's rock and roll, it's all of these things. But yeah, there is a huge difference. I think people don't realize, and it's a huge discussion in the community, like the ego-centric thing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I think it's a very thin line. It's a very fine line. A very fine line. What is an exposure, what is just promotion, and when it actually starts to feed your ego.
You know what, kids, let's just name it. It's either being professional, as I call it, or being an asshole.
Yeah.
And it comes down to that, and life does really verify if you're good to the people that are around you. Meaning by that, simply being grateful, being present, being, just a nice person, being warm and thankful for everything that you have. Someone, I cannot bring up the name right now because, as I said, I did this whole night thing. My brain is completely frozen. I'm a zombie.
Okay.
But someone very wise told me once that be nice and good to everyone on your way up. Because you're going to meet every one of those people on the way down.
Yeah,
and that's so
absolutely.
true.
I absolutely agree. Honestly, I think it really also depends on what is your message. How you connect with people. If people really want to hear your message, and how much you want to actually expose the message or shout out the message. So, and if it even fits together, what kind of exposure or what kind of way is the best for you specifically, how you show yourself into the world. And so now I just want to say that I think that for certain type of art or certain type of message, you just use the ego and it works very well. Of course it can be a negative message, but you know what I mean.
I completely understand. I think what you mean is purely when you're out there. Let's say, for me, it's performing arts. Be a rock and roller. Be bulletproof when you're out there for the people, but be normal and humble as you can be in private life. And it's gonna come back to you because people do feed all off of that vibe, and they do immediately feel like, I don't know how it is with you. Let's say if you watch a show or a performance, be it anything, be it stand up, being an exhibit of a painting, do you feed off the lie? Like if someone wants to bullshit you in some way, not being honest about who they are and what they're putting out there, do you feel that? Because I feel that immediately within like 3 minutes when I walk in. Like first impression is like, it either sucks me in and I totally dig that, it's organic, it's natural, or I go like, it's I don't know what it is yet at a time, but it just feels weird.
Yeah.
to say the
No,
least.
no, I think that's a natural human thing. Yeah, it's if you are honest with yourself, you will yeah, if you are really honest with yourself, you will feel something like this. So for me it is with music the strongest that I just uh, it almost feels that I very rarely actually believe the message. But then when I
Mm,
do, it's 100% and I feel it basically almost immediately. And that's what I want to keep for myself because, you know, as
right.
a professional, sometimes it looks like we should be professional in that approach and say nice things or whatever constructive criticism, which I think is it's nice anyway. You know, you should not really be extremely negative about other people's work because you never know where it leads and how it transforms
Well,
and
that's
from you know
another super interesting thing. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, but basically with a painting, with a statue, with a performance, with a person, with a shop assistant in a shop, I think it's the same. Like you either get it, that they are there or they are playing something. So
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I don't want to make any statement about how many people actually pretend and how many people are real.
Me neither. It's like I don't do the statistics really, but
Yeah.
it's kind of being in the business, if you will, being around people, which is pretty much what exactly is prohibited right now, in these indeed weird and strange times. But um, our life, and my life especially, comes down to really being amongst people of all sorts,
Mhm.
and that teaches you more than anything is just being around everyone. And everyone is different in the same time, on a personality level, but we're all humans, so certain behaviors, certain
Mhm.
patterns, if you will, do come up, and especially in the most extreme of moments when you're kind of being tested on how you
Yes.
respond, on how you deal with these things. It's not in the
Mhm.
high point when everything is good and working, but just at the opposite. But you did mention one very, very interesting and important thing. I think not only because of the ego that is a huge predominator in today's world. I know I don't tap into that, although I know I do have a huge one that I kind of try to push down. But the constructive criticism thing, again,
Mhm.
huge, huge difference. If
Mhm.
you do give feedback, and I strongly believe in constructive criticism, that
Me
is
too.
not about being personal. Hey, I don't
Mhm.
like this, I like that. That's
Mhm.
taste.
Yes.
Constructive criticism is about saying, hey, these are your strengths, let's push that in order
Mhm.
to enhance whatever you have best to offer, instead of just poking a finger, like, nagging at someone, because that
Mhm.
has a detrimental effect on, yeah, as you say, as things develop, on people's creative process, personality,
Yes.
feelings, all of those.
Mhm.
Have you had
Yeah.
like anything of those situations happen to you early on, Vladimira? Like even in your education, because right now new
Mm.
generations are born, but these are the things that
Yeah.
form us, kind of.
Absolutely. Well, yes, I would say I met both, as I think everybody. Um, I I felt that I couldn't really cope with the harshness of the world.
Mm,
I was getting very depressed, not by being criticized, because I was quite assertive as a young person, as a teenager, but more of
yeah.
the lack of interest of really going deep into things and actually finding out what is the real cause of if something is not working or if something is working. So for me, that people don't take enough time to understand one another or in a group, for me that was for some reason at the time extremely upsetting, and I felt that I cannot really join the group, for example, of actors what I was studying with. But that's not often, but early on I experienced situations like this, and I didn't feel very encouraged by that. I felt very isolated, and it I didn't do I didn't know what to do with it at all. I did not have any mechanisms how to maybe just create on my own, although I was doing that, absolutely. But I just drove myself crazy because I was too tired. You know, if you have to spend the time with the people who are maybe doing things just differently, but you constantly cannot figure out how to get to the core of things, because I really needed that. Then I was looking for that outside of, for example, my conservatory, and that I was working too much, I was studying too much, and I was sleeping like 5-6 hours. So basically, when I was 19, I had a first breakdown, because you cannot just sleep 5 hours a day and constantly focus
Welcome to
without
the club.
replenishing. Yes, exactly. It's when you
so
have
funny what you say. Yeah.
Yes, when you have
I can so relate to that on so many levels.
and I think many people who have passion for something, it doesn't have to be art, it can be science, it can be education, it's anything. But basically, for some reason, we have to go through this experience, that when we have a huge, deep passion for understanding things and just really moving forward with that, and just explore every single molecule of that, I think that would be very, very healthy if one of the most important things that you actually learn during studying anything, how to actually constantly replenish yourself. Otherwise, you can see how the world is not working right now. Because as we were talking earlier, in the green room, let's say,
backstage.
backstage, exactly, about the economic situation. And I was saying, like, if people would be from childhood raised to have savings, now during the shutdown, everybody would have like 1 year or 2 years of savings at least, so everybody
and the temporary vacation,
yes,
things
exactly.
would look a little bit differently.
Nobody would be stressing about anything, maybe about the health, if you want to stress about the health, but not about how we will get by and so on. And so I think it's a very healthy situation for people to actually reevaluate how they are leading the life, and how the economy actually is not working, and it's not healthy. It doesn't have people's interest at the core at all. It's just very restrictive, and it is not nurturing whatsoever. And basically you can see that because people go mainly into the freak out, or into the defense, or into just the hiding, or just the passive, okay, we will just wait and see what happens. It shows clearly that people are not thinking about themselves still, even during the lockdown, because they basically are in deficit, energetic deficit. And if you don't have enough self-love, enough nurturing, enough energy, of course you will not think about your well-being and how to thrive during whatever situation, because you just don't have the capacity to even start thinking like that, start feeling, even noticing that there is an option to actually be really well during such times.
Thankfully, exactly. What you said at the very end, this hits exactly home. I think we're doing this exactly here, taking things by the throat and making the most positive of things out of the situation. Because you know what? There's always two ways about the story, so to speak. There's one version that can be also negative, and the other version that can be also positive. And even with these like funny interview meeting, like live streams, if you will, that's my way to kind of grab the devil by the balls, so to speak, and to be active, not to be passive, not to dwell. If any one of you, I don't know if you, Vladimira, if you know Gary Vaynerchuk, he's one of the guys that is like a guru in the promoting world and entrepreneurship. That's a tough word. Sorry about that, guys. But again, my excuse is 9.5 hours live streaming all night, sleeping too little, and then jumping into this. But yeah, no excuses. So that's exactly one of these things. He says what we're discussing right now. Don't dwell, be active, be proactive about it, not only for your own sake, but also to kind of think globally about how much positive can be done right now, and how much positive attitude and the thinking and tapping into this energy stream that brings pretty much good and embraces everything that is good about life, not trivializing what is happening outside, obviously. But yeah, I think many people can relate to what you just said, and to what we're discussing right now here, that whatever the outlet might be, if you need downtime for yourself to kind of just like equal things out, because this is the huge equalizer right here, guys. It's a beautiful Sunday. It's Easter Sunday, 12th of April, I think. I'm still keeping track because of scheduling these episodes, because I just love calendar and I love, scheme work, even though I'm a huge improviser and a spontaneous person at the same time. But this is the big equalizer to kind of see, look at your life a little bit, look at your routines, look, if you're not pushing yourself too much. And what you said, thank you for sharing that also with me, but to everyone out there in the world, about this breaking down of the psyche and about burnout. Hell, I had that 3 times and I haven't learned yet entirely, I think, kind of a same thing situation, pushing myself to the limit until my eyes bleed, until I cannot sleep less than 3 hours, falling asleep, being so passionate about what I was doing and how I wanted things to develop in my passions. I don't want to call it a career. Like, I'm thankful enough to be able to do what I do for a living, without having a lame job, whatever that means. And then doing your hobby. But exactly as you said, pushing yourself with the passion to the limit, where your biological system and the spiritual side, however you might understand that, does break down. If you don't have that kind of time to reload and reboot your batteries, it will bite you in the butt at some point. And it's so important. And I don't know how you manage right now about balance. I think it's a huge discussion to begin with, but I really like where this episode kind of took us, because you know what, it's about really connecting to people and talking about important things. Like, we might be entertainers,
Absolutely.
and it's all about rock and roll and rocking out and playing Iron Maiden really loud on the speakers, which I just did right before we went on. I was learning the Trooper on bass. But yeah, it's about bringing people value and talking about things that are important. And I think you did tap into that, not only bringing back early education, but dealing with the situation right now, on quarantine lockdown. So,
well, I think that I'm one of the very, very lucky people.
It all got so serious all of a sudden, right? Like, I need to grab a drink.
Yeah.
Happy water, everybody.
Yeah. Happy Sunday, everybody. I think I'm one of the lucky people because I, also, as I said in the backstage to you earlier, that I was joking. Yeah, I was actually joking that if this lockdown would be forever, I would be fine, because I learned.
And what was my response to that?
Was you temporarily lost your hearing. Well, you know what, I mean it in a way that, if I speak from my own personal experience of life, I learned to take the life as it is and the needs of myself as they are. And I basically, I will say one thing that actually came a few months ago during my spiritual processing, and I will also get to the balance you were talking about, how I manage balance, or what actually balance maybe even is. And I think balance is a very personal thing. For every single person, it's very different. But about the quarantine and the isolation, I just wanted to say that several months ago, during my spiritual processing and meditation and everything, I got a thought or an idea I have never felt before, and that is that if I would have never died, it's fine, I can live forever. And it surprised me, because usually what we arrive to is that okay, I'm not afraid of dying, so if I die, it's fine. But I've never experienced if I never die, it's fine. I will be able to exist every single day, just feeling what's going on at present. And I think that's nowadays it's a beautiful opportunity to just basically learn about this feeling that you can exist and you don't have to run anywhere, and you don't have to even run inwards. You basically can just see what's happening and take it into play and just play with it. And I really loved that feeling never disappeared, and it's very liberating, both the death thing and the life thing. And so when the quarantine came, I I had to laugh, honestly, because I had to withdraw from life for quite some time. Not so much because I was exhausted, but because that spiritual part of me told me, okay, now's the time to do the biggest work, and basically you just have to do it. Otherwise, you have to do it. Otherwise, you will have to do it. Otherwise, just you have to do it now. Just do it. So and so funny, because it is very funny, because somehow you feel that you have a choice. I feel that I can do whatever I want, but at the same time, you feel who you are. And then you also learn about the self-respect and the understanding that you really are, you came here to be some specific person. And so it's very beautiful to learn that self-tolerance and self-understanding of what you need and what you want. And so I learned that if I do it, I basically feel timeless, and things fall into place and they evolve naturally. And
if you allow
like,
it, we said,
well,
right?
exactly. If you learned about your own personal truth, and you just, one thing is allowing it, and the other thing is that you just basically have to stand your ground among people. And so I will just speak purely from my experience, but of course it's not only me. But I knew this, and I even wrote it down when I was very young. When I was like 16, I wrote it in my first, I don't know, like book where I write my whatever comes to my life kind of ideas. And I wrote, don't let the world fool you. But I still did.
Nice.
And
I
it's
like
so
that.
very, but it felt like you have to, I was like, okay, so I'm so above things, and I'm so detached, I'm so assertive, but maybe I don't really engage, maybe I'm not really
Would
living
you
the
say
life.
that you're even an outsider? Like
Yes.
it's ironic how that all fits together. All of a sudden, the
Yes.
outsider project, like 60 years
Yes.
back, and all of a sudden, boom! It was a perfect match.
Absolutely. Well, but that's why I already felt that. I felt because I finished the conservatory. I felt there as an outsider. So for me, it was a very beautiful place to go to a project called an
Same here,
outsider.
it was
Yeah.
so funny because also me as a kid, I was so an individual, so rebellious, and I really had my mindset on things that I wanted to do. Like, let's say I hated math, I hate tapping into problematics like that, because I just did not care. I was passionate about, going to a dance class, or like hitting a festival during a weekend, and then being so too tired to tap into any kind of like structured education. Not that we're saying that education is a bad thing, to all of you kids and parents right now, mental
Yeah.
spanking. But for me, and obviously for you, Vladimira, it did not work. Like, the individual kind of
No.
path of things was the way to go. And years later, you kind of still look at that. You know what? It's funny with me. I do feel, and I did feel like an outsider, like in the project. For all of you viewers and listeners of this podcast, we did a project that was pretty complex, right? It was based on the notion of the
Superbly deep.
outsider.
Yes.
It was very deep on a creative process, on a thinking level, number one. And also, we were a bunch of artists thrown together in a living situation as well. We had a residency back over in Krakow, Poland, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
We were in a medieval kind of palace, man. And we had dancers, we had singers, we had people from theater, we had writers, we had sculptors, painters, and we had an artistic director, which was the funniest, I think. Like, for both of us individuals, it was so hilarious. One thing that I can really recall, like, it was the very first meeting, I think, to get to know each other. And he asked, because there were two books to read. The Outsider, obviously, but by Albert Camus.
I think
am I not mistaken? I might be screwing up the author and the title. Please excuse me for that.
Honestly, I don't remember that.
I just remember I read one of the two books. And he asked, because the second one, obviously not that, was his favorite. And I was like, nah, didn't read it. Like the first one spoke to me. And he was ready, like kind of taking it on a position of an artistic director. And, you know, me being a rebel and an individualist, I knew I had to do my things, you know, my way. It's not that we butted heads or anything, but it was definitely funny later on to start with that kind of
Yeah, well, you know, it's
disconnect.
interesting. It's interesting because I had the very opposite thing with him. I remember that his name was Andrzej Sadowski,
Yeah,
and
Andrzej Sadowski.
yeah, and I
Very
actually
interesting theater director, by the way over in Poland. He does
no, I
weird
know,
stuff.
I
He
know,
has
I
a
know.
weird
I did,
creative process. Yeah.
I did some research, and to me, it was I actually really I just really loved him. I mean,
He did
as a
his Tai Chi Kung Fu, like warm
mm,
up, all of us, right? Like in
yeah.
the backyard. That was
And
interesting.
it was a brilliant for me when I was working with him on my piece. You know, when we like each of us, we had our little performance
Yeah, we
within
needed to
that
do a solo.
global performance. Exactly. So I felt complete resonance, and for me, it was one of the most beautiful artistic experiences and meetings of my life. So for me, he was like my soul family. I
Mm.
was, I did not, we did not even have to speak any English, any nothing, because we understood. I could say telepathically, you know, it was very,
Yeah,
very
was
beautiful.
it?
But
It was an interesting connection. Yeah.
yes, it was a beautiful meeting. So I think after what I was experiencing, you know, at my school, at the conservatory, where I actually had one professor or two professors that were really brilliant, and I mean, on that human level, that I had connections with them, one in acting, one in singing and music. So I then this was this was something I needed to experience, because that's how I actually imagined, felt that that's how it should be. That's how we should approach. You know, when I earlier mentioned that I was looking for that depth and where the connection or disconnection or whatever it is really starts.
It comes from versatility, I think, right? Like because you're not purely in your own league, so to speak. So it's not only vocalists, it's not only people from theater. Yeah, you have a little bit of both, and then out of that weird cocktail, if you will, it it sculpts you, and you learn, and you have
yeah, and
outcomes
you
that are
can.
very original, like in no any situation, I think.
Yeah, and also exactly, you can basically first be inspired, and secondly, because there is so much input from the outside, that is creative, and that is, you know, so different, because we were such different people. It's
Tell me
incredible. We
about it.
were like
Like
what, 12 people from different countries, you know, in a
different cultures, different field of arts, number one,
yeah.
and yeah,
And yeah, and
ridiculous.
everybody, and feeling as an outsider. I think that every single day somebody wanted to leave.
Yeah. I was one of them. I think. I don't.
Yeah,
No, wait.
yeah.
Why my roommate? I think it was an artist from Romania.
This was
She
the
wasn't.
poet. I think
She was the
I
poet.
remember. Yes, I
So like
remember.
it's nothing against poetry, but I think my type of personality that is like so out there and so expressive, and like
Yeah.
someone so toned down, and you know, very an insider pretty much. I'm also an insider. I just act hyper because I'm dosed on caffeine and, you know, my own adrenaline. But it was a funny combo to put two of us together, and I think it was a purposely done, just because we were supposed to kind of deal with those situations. So I think that's one of the things that resonated so much in my psyche as well. And it's the memory stayed so long, the impact of a project that has happened like 16 years ago. And for all of you viewers and for all of you listeners, me and Vladimira have not seen each other ever since the project. I mean, we did stay in touch, right? On, well, social media, way before social
Yes.
media actually existed. Did Facebook exist 16 years
No,
ago? No, not
I don't
yet.
think I have.
It was
I
the
have
beginning, I think.
Facebooks. I have Facebook since 2008.
And the project happened 2004. Man,
Yeah.
that feels like ancient
So
history a
how
little bit.
I wonder, how did we stay in touch? I think that stay in touch. I think we just maybe had what, like an email.
We did have email, and I think we texted. because we also had a friend that was an
Yes.
actor, Marian Halane. Huge shout out by
Yes.
the you if Mayo is watching or will after the
Yes.
rebroadcast, because this episode, guys, will be re-edited and rebroadcasted and uploaded on the American EST time zone for all of you to enjoy if you are enjoying your weekend now with family, enjoying just, food or sleeping in. By the way, speaking of sleeping in, should we give that away? Like the backstage thing? It's always hilarious.
What do you
like,
mean?
what happens in the green room? No, because skip it. Okay, this is gonna be for like our insider viewers. If someone wants to know more, they should just hit us up at Rock Dance Theater or Vladimira Krckova and ask like,
Yeah.
what was that thing about the green room you meant? That's a secret. No,
Yeah,
but
maybe let's. I don't usually keep secrets, but let's keep a secret.
yeah, you know what? It's like, as I said at the very beginning, 33 minutes with Anna Achimowicz. We're already way over time, but this is so enjoyable to talk with you, Vladimira, and we just get it out. It's raw, it's unscripted, and that's how it's supposed to be because it's real. We're all in this situation right now together. We try to entertain each other. Hell, I cannot be on stage and do my Rock Dance Theater projects, rocking out on stage, but this is the way to kind of bring a little bit of history back. And I think there's so many stories to cover and never enough time to do that. Wait, by the way, the music thing, you were singing back then, I remember, but then you went into writing as well and composing your own stuff.
Yes, that's I would
tell us a little bit about that. Let's plug that unshamefully.
Cool. Yeah, well, that's actually
we're not ashamed of anything.
No, that fits my situation now because it actually it's been evolving the whole time. I was surprised that I started to write jazz, and
I have a cool joke about jazz when you finish your story.
Oh my god. Yeah, so but my music evolved into it was always influenced by contemporary classical music that I really, really love, and I think I am very much a part of. Although as a performer, I always in the past was more in the world of jazz, maybe pop, hip hop, even.
It's funny. Who's your jazz god? Kind of.
Well, I'm a little bit different. I don't really have gods.
Yeah.
But if I would say whom I really enjoy or what kind of music I really enjoy, I really like modern jazz a lot. Very. I like when the things are pure. So everybody, I think, who is more minimalist. Just that, what comes to my mind, which is not like
off the top of your head. It's like
ultimately. But I will tell you my very favorite CD, and it's done by Herbie Hancock, and it's called Revert the Johnny Letters, and it's music of Joni Mitchell, done by several artists that are very, very beautiful. And when that CD came out and when I heard it, I just to me it was very,
your heart
sublime,
melted.
divine. Yes, and I also the producer who produced it, of course, is it's a absolutely 100% aligned, I could say, godly work. It's I just really, really, really love it. It's very
on an artistry level. It's amazing.
On many levels. It's very. I feel it's also very tolerant. It's very. It just leaves the artists in their field, but it's also connected together. Just.
I agree.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So like this is one of the works I really always remember. But of course there are so many because I love classical music.
We could do a marathon night stream, might as well, just talking about music and inspirations.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's endless.
yeah, so but I will go back to just decomposing. So I even was writing music when I was very young, but it was never really, I was not living in the environment where that would be hugely encouraged or supported. So I just played with it, and then I played with
Did
something else, and
you have music instruments? Sorry to interrupt.
yeah,
In your home?
yeah, well, I studied accordion since I was 6, and then piano as well. So
Okay. So it was
and then
kind
I
of
learned.
passed on to you also in the family,
No, not well.
or not
My
really?
my parents, they like music, but they are not professional musicians. But
Okay.
I guess music is a part of the family in whatever way. And but I'm the only professional artist in my family. So
Mm.
yeah. So then later on, especially when you start doing creative music, extremely creative music as jazz is, and you have to improvise. So I think most of the jazz musicians and singers eventually start composing, be it just at home. You just have those
It starts
musical
in your living
ideas.
room. So like it's funny how
Yeah.
the history has turned around right now. We start in our living room, hell, when I was a kid, I was what, 10? I knew absolutely shit about choreography, about directing, and I did my first piece in my living room and I was 10. And yeah, same with music and composing. You're
Yeah.
an artist on your own bed, playing any instrument that you got,
Of course. Of
developing.
course. Yeah, I think it's just basically there's only one thing. You just have to feel you wanna do something, and then you just see where it goes, and if you still wanna do it, and
Find
of
the
course
passion, right? And then stick
yeah,
to it.
yeah, and just go through with it no matter what, no matter
Mm.
how easy or difficult or intricate or whatever, because life is everything, so we go through everything. It's not conserved, especially when you want to be truly creative. So
Mm.
so yeah,
Life's
so
awesome,
now.
it's just about like loving life and like just enjoying it, man. Like, and also our conversation right now, guys, for those of you that are just tuning in with the audio, if you've seen my smile, like this makes me so happy really to talk to you, because this is exactly like the essence, I think, just like loving life, man. And for
Mhm.
me, it's such a paradox right now with this situation, this whole lockdown. However things might be hard outside, it's been like the happiest time for me. Like, I've been
Yeah,
so grateful and happy with everything happening around. It's just ridiculous, to be honest.
I
It's
have the
just,
same feeling. No, I think
don't
honestly,
you, right?
I no, I think it's absolutely the most natural. I think because when you shut down the whole world, you should stay just with your own essence, and the essence is feeding you, and more. Calmness and peace and rest you have, and the time for yourself, the happier you should be. In my humble opinion.
Yeah, that's purely, guys, just our humble opinions,
Yes,
Anna's and
just
Vladimira's.
please be,
Like,
I've been
do as
also
you will.
depressed. I've been also depressed so many years in my life. But I think depending on where you are right now, where people are right
And
now, they
hopefully,
should be
guys,
just that.
you're all safe. Hopefully you're all safe and healthy,
Mhm.
and staying happy and positive, as we keep repeating here.
Well, you know what? I wanted to say something about this, because I think that if you are not happy, you should not be happy, and you should just go, because now we have time to really get depressed and be depressed for 2 months at home and cry, because you will eventually go out of that if you are not honest with yourself, and if you want to just stay happy just because you should be happy, because you whatever, because maybe now many people are stressed about what's gonna be in
Of
their
course.
lives. So just it's good to feel what you really feel, but then if you really stay with it for a while, it will go away, and the nice feeling will come, because the nice feeling or the neutral feeling is underlying everything. So I
It's
think when
temporary. It's temporary, like
yes,
everything in life, that however
everything,
bad it
yes.
might be, and
Mhm,
and you do feel like feel the darkness, and you have nowhere to bounce from.
mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
realize and do remember always. And I think it's a very important philosophy, well, maybe not philosophy, but kind of an opinion, a way to go, if you will,
Mhm.
that this too shall pass, really, and
Mhm.
it's all going to
Yeah.
be okay at
And
the end.
yes, and I think it's very important not to force people to be ready before they are ready, because that
Sure.
that doesn't exist. That you
Everyone has
cannot
their own
be.
process, absolutely.
Yes. And so I just wanted to say that if I connect this with the composing, my last composing topic, or the project I've been working on, because it's not out yet. Because of the break I had to take,
Right.
but I was creative. It came, even the difficult spiritual process in time, and I wrote the whole new project, about 25 new compositions, 25 to 30, which was really massive. And it is actually about exactly it. Uh, to be able to go through every single feeling, every single situation, and just be honest in how you feel in that situation. If you are angry, if you are happy, if you are in love, if you hate yourself, if you hate the world, and still be able to return back into the center. So you actually, realize and live your life from that knowing that you can say this too shall pass, but I would also say this is an expression of life. So now, if you don't feel satisfied, well, just investigate why you don't,
Yeah,
and
be
change that.
active about it, right?
Yes,
Not to like hang on to the notion that
not or
this too shall pass.
suppress
I'm gonna
that.
wait it out
Yeah.
in my calendar, not doing anything about it, because life is now.
Yeah.
And you know
And
what?
that.
Funny, because no,
Mhm.
go ahead.
I just want to say the opposite, or let's say the part of it is also, if you feel very happy, you should be very aware why you feel happy, so you can expand that happiness. Sometimes it is like, we are happy because of whatever, but we have people around ourselves that they are happy because of different things, and then there can be a disconnect. So you should be really filled with your own happiness and move in that direction honestly, and it is much easier than to try to communicate your perception of life with somebody who is different, and maybe then go into arguments, and maybe then you get stuck because you think you have to fit, or you have to find peace, or you just have to keep some people in your life, or you should be in their lives, or maybe they want you to be in their lives. I think that life is too short not to be honest with where your
It
happiness
is.
lies,
One day you're
or
here,
your
the other,
balance. And now we have the balance, so then you can be balanced even during war, crisis. You can be sick, you can be depressed. You are depressed, but you are very happy because you know that you're honest with yourself. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like, the
I think
opposites are no longer present. The opposites are no, the good and bad doesn't exist anymore, because you know that it is an expression of the underlying neutral flow that always will be with you. And so if you embrace yourself in that very first, let's call it like that, the very very first element of the existence, then everything else is just an expression of life, of you. And so you can be happy even when you are sad, and you can be sad even when you are happy, and it's all together. It's just
it
like,
it
it's one
it
thing.
works together. Exactly. It cannot be
Yeah.
either or separately.
No,
I
no, and you
think
don't. Yeah.
like no,
Sorry.
but this, like, we could continue on. I would love to discuss
Yes.
this like over and over, but yeah,
Mm.
we don't want to occupy too much of everybody's time. But I think one thing that is very worthy saying is, slowly wrapping this fantastic talk with you, Vladimira, up. Um,
With you.
it's exactly the notion of how life is simple and how not much we need very often to be happy. It's as simple as that. And to be honest,
Yes.
personally, I have learned also, and we discovered many things about myself and my surrounding and what is important to me. It's really like a simple life, and living with less, so to speak, especially under these conditions. It's so gratifying, and really, life is simple, and it is simple to be happy if you find it,
Yeah.
if you define it, as you say, if you're aware of what that actually is out of a definition
Mm.
for you. So
Yeah.
very interesting times we live in, like, however,
You know,
generalized it might feel.
I honestly feel that every single day is very interesting times we live in. You know, I think that it should not be some world crisis that should make
Right?
people.
Like all of a sudden extreme conditions like bring out
No,
everything. Like people are
no,
the most
and
creative, the most reaching out, the like feeling the most. Like
yeah,
it's weird. Shouldn't we be doing that on a daily basis? Kind of really
absolutely.
living life? Because like
Yeah.
this, us talking, us existing in the same time space, you know, drinking coffee, touching whatever you're touching physically,
Yeah.
materially, is happening at the moment. And people
Yeah.
tend to like think, okay, 3 days ahead, 5 days ahead, especially in our profession, so to speak, in my profession, most
Mhm.
definitely, is like just living either in the future or staying in the past a little bit and hanging
Mhm.
on to, well, memories are great. And like we also brought up a lot of cool memories from back in the Outsider project and stuff like that, but it's something to reflect on and not to really hang on to. That kind of prevents you from, you know, living the life here and now,
Mhm.
right here,
Yes.
right now.
Yeah.
I think there was a tune
Yeah,
also.
exactly.
I
I love that
can't
song.
remember by whom. I'm so bad with my memory right now, but
No,
yeah.
that's Fatboy Slim, I think, isn't it? Right here, right now.
Fatboy Slim, thank you. Exactly.
Yeah, it's my
See, like
favorite.
I need you to
Yeah.
name drop next time. By the way,
Oh
would you like to
wow.
come back in a while so that we do this again? Sometime
Absolutely.
in
And
the future, hopefully.
yeah, it's been really
Fantastic.
pleasant to spend the time with you, and also thank you for inviting
Likewise,
me
lady.
here. Yeah, and I
Thank
again
you for
after
accepting. That's really cool.
yeah, and after this 55 minutes 11 seconds of live YouTube,
13 and counting.
I actually understand again why we never actually disconnected completely, because I think that we
Yeah.
come from the same realm of whoever we are.
Homo sapiens, and then you fill out the
Yeah,
occupation yourself.
yeah, and
Awesome.
the planets and stuff like that.
Yeah, totally. Like favorite
No,
drink, favorite food, whatever. That
yeah, and
makes
so
us who
yeah.
we are.
By the way, sorry for not answering the mundane questions about the favorite coffee and
Don't.
favorite.
We're
Yeah,
gonna do that in episode 2, hopefully. So we don't want to give
exactly.
like everything away. We want to keep our listeners and viewers still interested and intrigued. So
Yeah,
we prefer to do it, you know, a little bit shorter and then pull back so that there's something to look forward to in the future. And
absolutely.
again, Vladimira, thank you so much for
Thank you as
joining
well.
our live stream. I'm gonna let you go into the green room right now and just wrap these
Cool.
things real up quickly.
Bye.
So have a great time, my dear, and fantastic seeing you with us.
Yes, you too. Bye.
So, guys, this was Vladimira Krckova joining us live from Prague today. It was a beautiful day. Man, this was a really fantastic hangout. We wanted to talk a little bit artsy generally, but I'm so glad that it turned into this a little bit deeper kind of conversation about things. And yeah, hope you enjoyed it, guys. If you want to keep following what's happening, all of the info is going to be there. Vladimira's art and Vladimira's work will also be there. So for the time being, I want to wish all of you guys a fantastic Sunday afternoon, wherever you guys are at in the world. Hope you stay safe, you stay productive, you stay creative for yourself, and above all, love, peace, rock and roll. That's my version, and I'm sticking to it. And until the next time we tune in together, this was your humble host Anna from Rock Dance Theater checking in. See ya.